Okay, so I was sorting through some of our keys the other day. We have them hanging up on a key hook that my wife made me for years ago. And as you can see, this is a jumble of keys. Now I know what they are. I know those are for our ladder locks. I know those are for my workshop, shed if you want. And these ones are our allotment keys. But to anyone else, they're just a pile of keys. So I thought I'd give them a bit of an upgrade. So I've made, or started to make, some little tags for them. This is just a piece of oak that I've cut and shaped, put a little eyelet in, and then I've used a pyrography tool to burn the name of whatever key it is in, and it makes life easier. We can find them all, and as I'm getting older I get more forgetful, so I won't be looking at these once I've made a tag and thinking, what were they for again? The tags themselves are easy enough to make. They're made from these little bits of oak which started life out like that. This is off an old TV unit or something like that, I can't quite remember now, and they're easy to make. So all I'm going to do is roughly mark the centre of each piece, drill a hole in it, and then I'm going to put an eyelet like that in. I've got loads of them in this little jar, and they're all, you can see, different colours, but I'm just going to use silver ones, I think, keep it consistent. So I need 2 eyelets for each tag, one for each side. Get some more out. You can get little tools like this for eyelets that sort of close them up, but because the wood is relatively thick, obviously it's not going to go in, and I'm not going to be able to close the eyelet up. So to do that, all I'm going to do is use one of these. These are pin punches for knocking in panel pins and stuff to sort of countersink them, but I found that if you put them in an eyelet, it's just enough to make it expand into a piece of wood, and it'll hold it. So what I'm going to do now is roughly mark the centre. So each piece of wood is 33mm, or about an inch and just over an inch and a quarter. Well, I'm just going to get my pencil, get it roughly in the middle, and just make a line all the way down like that. To make the lettering, I'm just using one of these normal stencils. I could do something more elaborate, but I'm not that artistic. This one here, I was just making sure I could get the whole word on, so that one will be for the allotment keys. And once I've shaped it and put the eyelet in and that, I will burn the lettering in using this. This is I use it as a soldering iron mainly, but it can be used for pyrography and other things as well. Comes with loads of different little nibs and points and whatnot. This one's got a little brass one in, which is good for just doing basic lettering. So onto the tag. So I've got my centre line, and it doesn't matter really that it's not quite centre, because I'll be shaping the tag to something more like that. I'm just going to drill a hole. This is a 4mm drill bit, 4.5mm. I might actually just punch that as well, because the oak is quite hard and the drill bit tends to slip. So I'll punch that first, and I'll just drill the hole. There we go. So there's the hole for an eyelet. You can see they fit in there quite nicely, and then on the other side, and then when I use the punch and give them a tap, they'll close into each other. But before I do that, I'm just going to give them a bit of a sand, maybe shape them a little bit, maybe round the edge off a little bit, So I'll just put something like this on. It's just an old bit of something I was turning, I guess. I'll just put that on the edge and use that as a rough guide. So that gives me that part of the tag, same on the bottom. So I've got something to go. I'll cut the corners off and then just give them a sand. And then once I'm happy with it and the finish, I'll put the eyelet in and stencil the lettering on and burn it in. Right, I'll just do some shaping now. I'll just cut the edges off on my bandsaw. Then I'll use my little benchtop sander, I think, just to get the piece of wood a little bit more finished. I'm not going too mad because it is just a key tab after all. Okay, back in a second. Okay, so there it is, all done, pretty much the same size and shape as the other one. And now what I'm going to do is just put the eyelets in. So it's one in one side, one in the other side, and then I'll use my punches, my little pin punches. I've got one that's quite fat, doesn't go quite all the way in, so that's the best one to use. And I'm just going to use the anvil section of my vise here. So I will put it down like that, get my pin punch, and just give it a couple of light taps. Try not to drop it. There we go. Eyelets in, quite tight, which is good. It's not going to fall out. And I don't really need to do anything other than that at all. Sometimes you get a bit of a ragged edge in there, but no, that all feels fine. So the next thing I'm going to do is work out which one I'm making this for. Obviously this one's for the gate. I just used it as a template. That's why it's the key's not on it. And I'm just using these little split rings to put the keys on with. You can pick them up all sorts of different places. And there we go. So there's that. This one I'll probably do for the ladder keys. So I'll just write ladder on there. Doesn't really get any more exciting than that. If you've never used one of these stencils before, it's easy enough. You just put it on where you want it. And then with a pencil or a pen, I'd recommend a pencil though, because if you make a mistake you can always start again. And then you just write the word that you want. There you go. That's it. So that one's ready. I'll do the rest, and then I'll switch my little pyrography machine on, and then I'll burn the lettering into them. Okay, so I'll just get on. Well, might as well do that one now. Okay, so I've got my key rings, key labels done. I've just started to burn the design in, and I'm using this. Now, these get very hot, so you have to be careful, and all I'm doing is carefully going over where I've put the letter in and literally just burning it in. Once I've got the main sort of outline done, then I'll go back over it and burn it a bit more, just to make sure that it is deep enough, so that once I give it a bit of a sand, you can still see what is there on the label. I'm not an expert at this by any stretch of the imagination, but it is an interesting hobby or art form. I think the key thing with it is just to take your time. And like I say, you can see as I go over the pencil, burns it into the wood. It makes it more defined. So I'm just going to carry on, do these ones, and then all I'll do there is just put a little bit of wax on them, and then they'll get hung up with their keys where they need to be. The other thing I found as well is with these pyrography tips or tools, they're brass, and obviously with your burning wood you get soot on it, so every now and then it's an idea just to get a little bit of sandpaper, something fine, and just clean the tip, because it seems to work better. So I'm just going to carry on. Burning the lettering into these. Right, almost done. So there's the gate one, that doesn't need anything, but I'm just going to rub a bit of wax on each one just to give them a bit of a shine, maybe bring out the colour of the wood a bit better. I wouldn't say they're perfect, the lettering could probably be better, well, could definitely be better, but for what we're using them for, I think they'll be fine. And at least if I get any more forgetful, I'll still remember what key does what. There we go. And that's it really. Obviously if you are using a pyrography tool, they get very hot. Don't burn yourself. And as you're burning wood as well, it's probably best to do it in a ventilated room. So all I've got to do now, wait for the wax to dry, give them a bit of a polish and put the keys on them. So that's it. Alright. Thanks for watching.